me and my core team, like, it's clear, we're totally clear, which we knew, by the way, like what came out yesterday, we all knew that, but now it's coming out through the officials, and it's important that Quebecers have access to the truth. I could have been better at managing this, but the way it happened, it was so violent, and I'm using this word on purpose. Like every day something was coming out, but without being checked, without being a fact. There was no room for me to explain what was going on. There was no oxygen. It was really tough, and honestly, Aaron, I hope this never happens again to anyone.
So that, of course, is Pablo Rodriguez. He was in studio. We're going to replay that interview if you did not hear it just after the 5:30 news. David Heurtel is standing by, former Quebec Liberal cabinet minister, political analyst, and, of course, our feature brought to you by Guaranteed Industries, who remind you they can keep you nice and cool as we wind through the summer. Don't forget they are a Can-Air dealer as well, and they take care of residential, industrial, commercial, the whole deal. That's Guaranteed Industries since 1957, 514-342-3400. David, thanks for being here this afternoon. I appreciate it. We're filling in for Scott Reed today. I just want to bring up what you heard. I don't know how much of the interview you heard, but I wonder what you thought. First of all, because someone texted in after I did the interview saying, what would compel Pablo Rodriguez to even want to talk about this now?
I think for Pablo, it's important to show that he's vindicated. I know for a fact how much this whole ordeal hurt him in the deepest sense, hurt his wife, hurt his daughter. And, you know, for a man who dedicated basically his entire adult life to public service, to have it ended this way, I think it's important for him as a man, as a human being, to just come out and say, look, this is vindication. And the way he's done it with you, he's done it in the French media as well, total class, by the way. He could have been much more vindicative than he was, and so I think that's the most important thing for him, is to come out and say what he went through, and the fact that he is completely innocent of all these allegations, this unsubstantiated crap that was put out there by people that basically have absolutely no scruples. And he's right in saying we hope it doesn't happen again. I'm afraid that may not be the case.
David, is there a chance those people who put this out, and remember, this was originally through the Journal de Montréal, running copies of alleged texts that no one's been able to trace back. Is there a lawsuit in here somewhere?
Well, first of all, let's walk it back. This did not start with the Journal de Montréal. This started with Mauro Risky. And I think she has to answer for this. There's something wrong in the world where Pablo Rodriguez and his wife have lost their livelihoods over this, and Mauro Risky is leaving the National Assembly with a cushy radio job at where? At Québécois. She has to answer, because this did not start with the Journal de Montréal. This started with Mauro Risky. And the whole show she made, going to see Pablo Rodriguez with a lawyer and saying there's something wrong and there's something rotten and there's fling-flangs and whatever. Mm-hmm. So she has to answer for this.
I will say, David, when I brought it up, and he didn't want to talk about this very much, other than to say, to your point, that he felt betrayed.
Well, he was betrayed. He was betrayed. And there are clearly people within the Liberal Party that did not want Pablo Rodriguez to remain in leader. There are clearly people that disagreed with the results of the leadership convention back in June of 2025, where he was duly elected leader. And there are people that did not want that to continue, obviously. Because if even now that we know that basically it seems to be around what Sona Lekoyan did, and this seems also to be around with what Mr. Cabral did at his fundraiser, there doesn't seem to be other things. Why the whole theater play that we saw? Now, so there's definitely, and eventually the truth always comes out, but there's definitely betrayal. There are definitely some people that are going to have to answer for the way they acted within the Liberal Party. Some elements in the caucus did not want Pablo Rodriguez to succeed. That's obvious now. And there are people within the Liberal Party establishment that did not want to see Pablo Rodriguez succeed. That's obvious now. And then you can add on, after what Mauro Risky did, Then there's Journal de Montréal, and then what Cogeco 98.5 FM did with those text messages that have yet to be verified, that have yet to, we don't know yet if they're authentic or not. They don't seem to be. Mm-hmm. And there's Journal de Montréal now saying that, well, we got them from a reliable source. Well, the next question is that source still reliable? I wonder, are you still getting stuff from that source?
Okay.
But, you know, it is an injustice. And the fact is the media, political commentary class, and a lot of people within the Liberal Party have to look deep within themselves and say, okay, is this the bar now? Unsubstantiated allegations are enough to get rid of a leader? Watch out if that's the case.
David, I asked him as well, as I started to say to him, you know, you're a relatively young man. At first, I told him he looks great, which he does.
He does.
And I said, you know, so does this taint you from ever getting back into politics? And his answer was, you know, kind of ambivalent. Well, he might not. Has anyone asked you? It seems to me, do you think this taints him from getting involved in politics at any level going forward?
I do not. I think, you know, Pablo Rodriguez still has a lot to offer to Quebec and to Canada. Will it be necessarily elective office? I don't know. But Pablo Rodriguez still has a lot. He's a smart man. He's a dedicated man. He's an honest man. He has a ton of experience. He's held several senior portfolios federally. He won the leadership of the Liberal Party of Quebec. He still has a lot to offer. It's going to be up to him, but I don't think he's tainted in any way. It's quite the contrary. I think he's vindicated.
I also would ask the question, I was thinking this out loud as well. I kind of asked the question, don't you think it would be a good look for someone like a Charles Maillard, who ended up becoming the leader, to, now that this has come out, and you know, we found that he's not responsible for anything here, to actually bring him out on the campaign trail with him or not?
Well, I first of all, I don't think Pablo Rodriguez would necessarily want to do that, first of all. Two, that would, for Charles Maillard, it would bring up a contrast that I don't think Charles Maillard wants. Mm-hmm. Because let's remember one thing. Today, where Charles Maillard's leadership of the Liberals is in terms of all the polling is under where Pablo Rodriguez had the Liberals before the scandal. Let's remember, Rodriguez had the Liberals within 5 points of the PQ. It was 32-27 in the fall, just before the scandal broke. And where are the Liberals now? So I think a lot of people will say, hey, maybe we're better off with Pablo than we are with Charles Maillard.
All right, last thing I want to get to really quickly, this strange story about Vincent Marissal, who left the CAQ to join the PQ. Oops, no, he's not a PQ member anymore, because apparently Paul St. Pierre Plamondon don't find out. He rented his government-paid-for residence to someone else, someplace else, so he could live in someplace else while they lived in his place. Is that basically it?
Yeah, that's basically. Well, basically, when you're not from the Quebec City region, you get money for the government to live in Quebec City while the National Assembly sits. And so when I was an M&A, I got that money. And I used that money towards a hotel room. A lot of M&As just stay at the hotel. But some people rent apartments. Some people even use that money to buy condos in Quebec City. And so, but the thing is that you can't turn around, and that's what seems to be the problem here. He took his money, his apartment, and traded it. So basically, you're getting a government-funded apartment, and you're trading it to people to get stays abroad in people's apartments. So that's an unfair advantage.
That's verboten. Okay.
That contradicts ethics rules. You can't use your position as an M&A to gain an unfair advantage, to get an unfair service or contribution in exchange. So it's
an ethical issue. It's not illegal. It's just you're not supposed to be doing
it. It's an ethical issue. Okay. There's no illegality there.
Okay.
It's a problem with the National Assembly ethics rules. But let's be fair here. In the 48 hours since Paul St. Pierre Plamondon had named, think about this. The guy's from Montreal. He is, the M&A up until the election, the M&A for Rosemont, for Quebec Solidaire. He was an independent since the whole kerfuffle with Quebec Solidaire and the PQ a few months ago. But the guys from Montreal, for Rosemont, he's parachuted in Taschereau in the middle of Quebec City. That makes absolutely no sense. A lot of PQ members in the Quebec City area were screaming, and it seemed to be a huge blunder for Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon. So this issue comes at a very opportune time for Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon to name a new candidate. Apparently, it won't take any time at all. He seems very ready because he's announced that he's going to name the successor tomorrow. So I think he was already planning on this.
Okay. I would just ask really quickly, someone was commenting on the PQ not having anyone with any financial background. They appointed Nicolas Marceau.
Yeah.
Doesn't exactly have his sterling reputation in his last job as finance minister, right?
Look, we won in 2014 partly based on the fact that we fought against the then record deficits that Nicolas Marceau generated. And we brought out an economic team. Carlos Leitao is one of the greatest economists in the world. Martin Couture, a leading economist in Quebec. Jacques Daou, who was the outgoing president of Investissement Québec. So we're far from Jacques Parizeau and Bernard Landry on the PQ side. Problem is, it's not like the Liberals or the CAQ have a lot of sterling economic team members either.
Fair enough.
To be fair.
Okay. David, I thank you. I appreciate it.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.